Hello, welcome to another boxing video. So today I'm trying out a new setup and stuff, new camera. But I'm not sure how it's going to go just because there's different camera and stuff. So if it's not as good as the previous camera I used, I'll probably go back to it till I can upgrade the equipment. But I'll talk more about that at the end of the video. So today the video is about Tyson Fury's potential return to boxing. So many people do know by now. I mean, anyone doesn't know Tyson Fury, it'd be a bit strange. Former heavyweight champion, currently 25-0, has been out for the ring for the last 2 years due to many problems, I think injuries and just weight problems and drug stuff and court appearances, and a lot of things have been holding him back. But now he's saying recently that he's coming back and that, and the last couple of days there's been a few pad workout videos that have been sort of resurfaced online and stuff, which is good to see because he's active and he's doing something. He said he's really overweight, which is evident in the videos. He said he's like 25% or something. I'm not sure if that's correct or not, but he looks a lot more heavier than he did back when he was fighting. But like I said, if he comes back and he's fully fighting fit, then obviously it's not going to be a problem, because Tyson Fury on these days is a really dangerous heavyweight. Like I said, former heavyweight champion as well, so you can't take that into any sort of negative way. He beat Vladimir Klitschko, and Klitschko was on top of his game. I know Klitschko was sort of losing his way kind of before losing to Tyson Fury, but he was still a unified heavyweight champion of the world. Hadn't lost for over a decade, I think. Made multiple title defences, as everyone does know. Then obviously Tyson Fury was able to nullify Klitschko and beat him quite, I wouldn't say comfortably. It was a bit of a scrappy win back when I watched it, to be fair. But that's just my opinion. Obviously since then he's had a lot of things wrong with him, like obviously court stuff, drug stuff, getting stripped of the belts, and multiple reasons why. But the video today I'm just talking about, if he comes back, what can he actually do in boxing. So realistically he's got a few options, because he's a big name still. He still holds a lot of he's still got a lot of support sort of fan wise and stuff. Promotion wise, I'm not really sure what's going on with that, because I'm not really aware of his situation in that regard. But potential fights in that, he could start off light. He could go against some like sort of domestic people. There's a lot of people in the domestic scene at the minute, like Dillian White. I know obviously he's fought Jettisora a couple of times now and he's beaten both quite comfortably. Dillian White could be a good scrap, but obviously at the minute Dillian White's current situation is he's gone after WBC heavyweight champion Deontay Wilder, so time will tell about that, if that's going to happen or not. I don't see that happening anytime soon with Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury in the future, because like I said, Deontay Wilder's got other things on his plate at the minute, and I don't think it'll be very sort of practical if he faces Tyson Fury. But it could be a good domestic English heavyweight title. English heavyweight fight. On the world level, of course, he's going to go up against the big names: Anthony Joshua, Joseph Parker, Deontay Wilder, because technically he still holds the Ring Magazine heavyweight title as well, which I was aware of, but I didn't actually know he still held it, because obviously if normally you would expect to be stripped, because he was stripped of all his other belts, but for some reason that I'm not aware of at this current point, Ring Magazine haven't decided to strip Tyson Fury of the belt. We never know in the future if Deontay Wilder and Joshua fight for the Undisputed Heavyweight Championship. Ring Magazine might strip Fury of the belt and add it onto that, but that's just an example. But back to what I was saying before about Tyson Fury's options. If he fights one of the bigger names, if he's fully fit and ready and he thinks he can do it, of course that'd be interesting. 2 years out is a big thing for any fighter. It doesn't matter if you're the best fighter in the world or not. I mean, even for Mayweather, for example, took a couple of years off and stuff, and he still come back relatively good. I think it's Conor McGregor, for example. He wasn't his best, but he still did the job. Tyson Fury has a lot of problems outside the ring, has to be said. So it all depends on if he really wants to. It depends. If he's a good Tyson Fury, fully fit, in shape, all there, mentally and stuff, ready to fight. It's a dangerous person, but on the flip side, it's sort of 50-50. If he isn't sort of ready, like in all categories, anything could happen. I mean, 2 years away, he could be the half the fighter he once was. So it could be interesting to see what's happening in that front. In terms of what I think he can do if he makes a comeback, like proper comeback, I do think he can become champion again. Technically, as I said, with the Ring Magazine belt, but of course, Joseph Parker is the sort of weakest. It's a sort of weaker opponents out of the current world championship, world title holders. Of course, Anthony Wilder and Joshua are sort of slightly above Joseph Parker in many different categories. And if Tyson Fury, say he went up against like a domestic low level like tune-up fight, and then Joseph Parker was available and they scheduled a fight, I could see Tyson Fury winning that, only because I think Fury is better fighter overall in a lot of different categories. Of course, I think Joshua and obviously Deontay Wilder, a different story in that, but I think Tyson Fury would need a good couple of fights under his belt before he went up against those type of fighters, only because they're a level above Joseph Parker, and they're obviously active regularly in that, and I don't think it would be a good idea if Tyson Fury just jumped into the ring with one of those two straight away, because I just don't think it would be very practical in terms of, because if Tyson Fury goes in there, fights one of those two, and just gets blasted out, everyone's just going to go around and say, well, Fury was out for 2 years, you sort of baiting the guy, the fight's already won basically already because it's 2 years out, it's rusty. But if Tyson Fury goes up against a lesser opponent, like a small, say like a 10-round fight or something, if that can be arranged, it's like a lesser heavyweight, say if he beats him a couple of rounds, it's still something under his belt, and then he can carry on with the training camp after, and then go up against one of the better fighters, like I said. That's what I personally would do, but of course I'm obviously not a boxing trainer, obviously I wouldn't know how Tyson Fury is doing. If he says he's ready, and he could be scheduled out and everything was alright, and whoever wanted it bad enough and stuff, I know there's a massive demand for it, because obviously it's a big, interesting, appealing fight for boxing fans in obviously England, but around the world I'm not really sure. I mean, I know heavyweight title matches generate a lot of buzz and like exposure. In American terms, I'm not sure if sort of that American side of it will see it as like a mega fight, because like they're well known, but they're not like sort of, you wouldn't put them like in the sort of pay-per-view like stars or something, like sort of say like Canelo Alvarez and Glenn Golovkin, for example. They fought in America, massive event, but the biggest fight of this year, whereas if they fought in England, I just don't think it would have the same sort of massive fight appeal like it did for Alvarez Canelo. That's just my opinion. But in terms of sort of Tyson Fury making a proper comeback and actual making like a dent in heavyweight division, like I said, if he comes in fit and he's ready, takes it seriously like he did before he had all his current problems, I do think he can do damage, because like I said, Tyson Fury is a good heavyweight. You can't just be a heavyweight champion for nothing. You can't just beat a reigning heavyweight champion who hasn't lost for 10, 11 years or something. Multiple title defences if you're not a good fighter. It was scrappy. It wasn't the most entertaining fight ever, but he got the win. Sometimes fighters, the best of fighters, look quite bad or scrappy or poor and they still get the win. Sometimes that's all that matters. And of course, this Tyson Fury, I think, sort of felt like he was getting sort of always remembered for like a scrappy win against Klitschko. I don't think he'll make a comeback, because he's got loads of money, he's happy, he's got a family, he's achieved heavyweight title status. That's a massive achievement. You can't get better than that in boxing. If you become a champion in your own weight class and you fulfil the dream, what's better than that? Making money. I mean, it doesn't seem like money is the be and end all for him, because he's happy, we've got a family and stuff. But I think obviously he's come back for a reason. If Tyson Fury was active right now, like I said, fully fit, everything was down, I do think, I'm not sure if he would come into any problems against some of the fighters, but it'd be really interesting to see who would take the first loss out of, say, the sort of triangle like Wilder, Joshua and Tyson Fury. That'd be really interesting. I mean, hopefully that becomes a reality, like not a fantasy, like a reality, like they can all fight each other, because I think that'd be a really good thing. Or even like a tournament, for example. I know they're doing the Super 6 cruiserweight and super middleweight tournament. I know obviously is a bit of it's easy to say you're to do a heavyweight tournament without factoring other things, but imagine that you've got all the say if there was 4 fighters, you've got Tyson Fury, Joseph Parker, Deontay Wilder, Anthony Joshua. You got 4 fighters there, all title holders, and say you pick another guy who's a highly ranked contender or something. That'd be so great because once the winner of the whole tournament would be undisputed champion, so wouldn't be any doubts. They'd be obligated to fight each other. They can't get out of it. They can't say like they've got mandatories because if they're in the tournament, they're all scheduled to fight one another. So and the winner obviously would come out with as a true heavyweight champion and the best fighter in that division. Well, of course that's just an example, but like I said, write down in the comments down below and stuff, and give a like and share if you think and what you think about Tyson Fury's potential comeback, if you can make a dent in the sport again, because he is a good sort of character overall. I've enjoyed watching him fight over the years. Yeah, obviously sometimes his personality, he has said some bad things or questionable things in the past, but just as a boxer, yeah, sometimes he can go a bit over the top and stuff, but sometimes that's how people are, and I think it's quite enjoyable because Joshua's respectable and stuff, and he's that's how you're meant to be obviously in boxing, professional. Tyson Fury does respect people if he gets in the ring, but obviously he's got a different way of expressing it. But like I said, he's a good fighter, and he's interesting, and he's appealing to watch from my point of view, and I'm pretty sure a lot of the fans share that saying as well. Like I said, with the equipment and stuff, I've got a new camera because I've got a video camera now I can use with different lenses and stuff. I'm just trying it out. I haven't got a microphone on top of the camera, so I'm not sure how good the sound will be for the actual video. I'm going to try and edit the sound up as well if it comes out not very high, and see how it goes. Like I said at the start of the video, if it doesn't sort of go well, I'll go back to my old compact camera I've been using since I started YouTube and stuff. Like I said, hope you enjoyed the video and stuff, and if anyone wants to give a like and comment or about my video, that'd be great, and see you in the next video.